Welcome to the Graduate Job Podcast, your home for weekly information and inspiration to help you get the graduate job of your dreams.
Welcome to the Graduate Job Podcast with your host, James Curran. The Graduate Job Podcast is your weekly home for all things related to helping you on your journey to finding that amazing job. Each week I bring together the best minds in the industry, speaking to leading authors, entrepreneurs, coaches and bloggers who bring decades of experience into a bite-sized weekly 30-minute show. Put simply, this is a show I wish I had a decade ago when I graduated. For episode 48 of the Graduate Job Podcast, we niche down again in a specific company, as I'm joined by Ashley Hever, Director of Talent Acquisition at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, as we discuss their award-winning graduate scheme. In this half hour, we explore their graduate management trainee scheme, examining what exactly it is, how you apply, and how you can stand out from the crowd. We discuss the application process in detail, their brilliant internship schemes, and also cover why Enterprise Rent-A-Car could be the ideal place to start your career. No matter what graduate scheme you're applying to, Ashley's insight and advice means that this is an episode you won't want to miss. As always, all links to everything we discuss and a full transcript are available in the show notes at graduatejobpodcast.com/enterprise. Before we start, a quick request from me. Your feedback helps me to create the episode you want to hear, so I've set up a super simple and very quick survey as I want the show to best serve your needs. It's got 5 questions and it will just take you a minute, so please check it out at graduatejobpodcast.com/survey. I look forward to hearing your thoughts, but in the meantime, let's crack on with the show. I'm very pleased today to welcome Ashley Hever to the show, the Director of Talent Acquisition at the Enterprise Rent-A-Car, who were recently awarded the title of being the UK's #1 graduate employer. Ashley, welcome to the show.
And thank you for having me and for that lovely introduction.
And congratulations on the award. I'll link in the show notes to the award page on Total Jobs. It looks like you were having a good time.
Yeah, it was a great evening. Real shock, actually. So, but again, really proud of the work that our team and all our employees do out there on campus to really showcase our brand, about the opportunities, the development side, the promotion side. So yeah, really nice award to end the year with.
Excellent. And today we're going to dive into the scheme itself and then go into the application process of how to apply and what you look for from your candidates. Starting with the scheme itself, can you tell us a little bit more about how it's structured and what listeners would actually be doing?
Yeah, so the main sort of entry point for graduates and for interns into Enterprise is through our graduate management trainee program. That's working in one of the stores or one of the local branches. Really, I suppose the easiest way to put it is learning and developing and training to run your own business ultimately at the end of the day. So that's the main entry point. You're learning about everything to do with what it's like to really run, set up, and have a performing business. Sometimes people get put off by the product, which is the car. That is all it is. It is just the product. We really focus on everything else that goes with it, such as improving on your management skills, looking at your leadership, your communication, your customer service, your marketing, finance. You're really getting a whole breadth of training and development that's developing you as an employee. So ultimately, we only promote from within. So it really is allowing you to get those skills that are going to make you a success with our business in the future.
Excellent. And is the scheme a set length of time where you start and you go through and it's quite structured in terms of what you'll be doing?
It's structured in so far as all of your training is very structured. You're given what we call a 12-month training folder. Now, that 12 months is just a guideline. We've just had an employee get promoted to an assistant manager in 6 months. So it really is down to you how you progress and how quickly you progress. There's no time limit on how long it takes. We usually say that the minimum would be around 6 months to get that training folder completed. But that's the beauty of Enterprise, that it is really down to you and your performance and how you go out and seek that training and development and work alongside other people in the business to really help you progress. So yeah, there really isn't any set time, start, end, finish for that. And, you know, I always still say I'm on that training program today because, you know, you do learn stuff every day. So it does carry on throughout your career.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of progression, what would then you mentioned going on to the assistant manager, what would the next few years look like once you've progressed out of the scheme?
There's sort of two ways in which you can go. A lot of the majority of our employees will stay on within the retail operation, so they'll become an assistant manager, and at that point, that's really a great turning point within your career because you then start earning a percentage of profit off the performance of your branch, and then as you progress, you'll be a branch manager if you get to that next level, and again you're earning potentially a bigger percentage of profits from that location. You're not just given these opportunities; it's very much based on performance. The one criteria is that you have to have a good, a customer service score that is above our average across the whole of the company, and that's the importance we place on that service piece. You can progress into, if you want to stay in retail, then into the rental operations, then area manager, group rental manager, general manager, and beyond. But the beauty of enterprise is that 95% of all our promotions come from within. So it really is a feeder as well to a lot of our other opportunities within the business. So, recently we've had someone come from our rental operations who is now our graphic artist. She studied a degree in that at university. We have people moving to our legal department who may have studied a degree in law at university. I did criminology. I now manage and run our talent acquisition program across the UK. So sales roles, IT roles, accountancy. So that's what I see as the beauty. You can really choose which career path you ultimately want to go down, and know that the work that you've been doing within the rental operations can really pay dividends, and then you're not competing with people that may not have done that as well. So there's a whole host of different roles and varieties that you can go down to within enterprise. I've had about 6 different jobs in the time I've been here. So.
Excellent. It's always good when there's companies where everybody who works there has started at the bottom and worked their way up, so they know about the company and they know what it's actually like on the shop floor. And
I think that really helps. And I spoke about development earlier, and all of our branch managers, all of our area managers have all been in that position where you're starting a new career for the first time. You're thinking, what questions can I ask? What should I do? What shouldn't I do? And when I was an area manager, you can sometimes see the questions before they're being asked. So that's a great development tool in terms of you doing that development and people aren't actually having to ask you those questions because you know some of the challenges that new employees are going to face in any business.
And how does it work in terms of location? Do you apply centrally, then get allocated to a location, or do you apply for a specific location?
We have got over 400 locations across the UK, and we do, we know that the challenges some people face when they first leave university, so we really try to help candidates and new hires by starting them in a location that might be closer to their home so that they've not got those big travel things or relocation. But, if someone's gone to university in Cardiff, lives in Leeds, but wants to relocate to London, then again, we're really flexible with that as well. What I would say is, though, that if I'd chosen to spend my whole career in Leicester, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I've really gone out and gone for those jobs, and relocation has been an important part in that. But yeah, we do try and place people as close to the branch or the region in which they initially choose to apply for us online as well. So, and we work throughout the interview process with the candidates to make sure that we're working with them, we're letting them know where they're going to be located, and just making sure from an onboarding perspective that's as smooth as possible.
Moving across then to the candidates that you look for, what are some of the key skills and values that you look for from your candidates?
There's different things that we look for throughout the process, and when people are applying an interview with us. I think what I would say is that if you don't like customers, then maybe enterprise isn't the right career choice for you, because you are heavily involved with dealing with customers on a day-to-day basis, and I'm still doing so today. So we do look for people with a customer service aptitude, and that's not saying you have to have been a customer service manager, but it can be anything from volunteering or from work experience or from working in a club or society where, maybe perhaps your colleagues are your customers at that time, or the university is your customer at that time. So that's something that we look for. We do look for, some element of leadership skills as well, great communication skills, maybe some experience within a sales environment. And again, that goes back to the customer service. That doesn't mean you have to have been door-to-door selling. It's, you could be doing a project with 5 other people on your course, and you're the project leader, and you're getting people to come around to your way of thinking. That to us is like having that sales aptitude as well. We like people who've got that flexibility in there as well, and that's being able to juggle a few different tasks at the same time, being able to prioritize your workload. And again, it's just using situations that have happened to you either at university, through your work experience, through any volunteering that you've done, and being able to relate that to the real world and to a job interview. There's a lot of communication. You're dealing with customers from a whole diverse background. You're working with fellow employees that are from a diverse background. So great communication skills are also needed. And as with any graduate job, it's not really a 10 till 4 job. It's, you are going to have to work smart. There's going to be times when a customer is going to need your help. And I think having a good, strong work ethic as well also goes a long way within the process.
Of course. And you mentioned that you did criminology, and is there a particular type of degree that you're looking for? Are you open to a whole broad spectrum of different degree types?
Yeah, a whole broad spectrum. I mean, I'll do my data at the end of this year, but we will have hired from probably 100 different universities by the end of this year. So we don't just target certain universities. Our belief is that great talent goes to all universities, and so that's why it's really important for us to engage with people from all sorts of backgrounds. Like I say, I think our employee who did the design and graphic degree couldn't believe that one day the opportunity would be able to put that into practice at enterprise. So the same with me with a criminology degree. Our managing director studied Japanese and Oriental studies. So there really isn't a hard and fast subject or course that we're really looking for. I mean, many of our employees do come from a business studies background, but we have such a vast array of different degrees. And it's interesting, some of our most successful area managers actually studied a psychology degree. So, and I think that people management, people development piece is also really important in the business. So, yeah, no real hard and fast degree subject to have studied, which means that we're getting, again, such a diverse workforce within the business, and we're not getting, 600 graduates who have all studied business studies at one of the top 10 universities in the country, because I think that's really important for any business. Yeah,
definitely. And how many hires did you make last year onto the graduate management training scheme?
The graduate scheme, we took around 700 graduates onto the program and around 200 interns. So from those that are doing a work placement as part of their degree course, or even those that are doing it on a 6-month, or just those that are looking for some 10-week summer placement opportunities to enhance their skill set and get some experience of working within a business as well.
Excellent, and we'll delve into the internship scheme later on in the episode. Okay. So think about the application process then for the main graduate scheme. What does the application process look like? What would be the starting point for listeners?
Starting point, there's a whole variety of different starting points, but a majority of our starting point is meeting a student at university through a campus event, a careers fair, through our campus brand manager program, and engaging with them in conversations, telephone calls, and then inviting them to make an application. Once they've made their application, we will then do a short 5 to 10 minute telephone interview with them, and at that time arrange a time to meet them face to face for a more formalised face to face interview with the candidate. That's usually around half an hour, 45 minutes long, and really digging into a little bit more about some of the competencies that I spoke about before, some of their experiences at university. If they're successful at that stage, then they'll be invited to spend 2 or 3 hours at one of our local branches, really ensuring that they have a great feel, they're knowing about the role, about the job, they're meeting their potential line managers, meeting some of their colleagues, and it's a two-way thing really. We're looking to make sure that they're the right person for us, and that we're the right employer for that individual. And in that branch visit, they'll get to ask a whole variety of questions. They'll buddy up with someone else who is maybe new to the business or has just got their first promotion, and at the same time they'll have an interview with the local branch manager as well. Successful at that stage, they'll be invited to an assessment centre where they'll be with around 8 to 10 other individuals that all got to that stage of the process. And it's a very sort of typical assessment centre insofar there's group discussions, interview, a couple of role plays in there, and another individual exercise. And I think what we try to do is bring out a bit more of the personality of the candidate. It's not formal. We have a lot of our senior managers there really telling their stories about the career, and just that really is just sort of bringing everything together throughout the whole interview process. And at the end of that, we bring together all of the interview stages and then make a decision on that candidate.
Excellent. So there's a really nice mix there of chances for you to find out more about the candidate, but also for them to find out more about you and what it is you do. There's nothing worse than when you see candidates who go through the process and they've not really put the thought and attention in, and they've not thought about what it is they're actually going to be doing day-to-day basis for the job.
I think another reason why we do that is to make sure that in any role, you don't want to walk in on day 1 or day 7 or day 50 and think, actually, this isn't what they said it was going to be. So I think that branch visit and the assessment centre really is able for people to really see what the role is like, and also for a lot of our senior team to give their stories and show, and tell how they've got to the level they've got to, the career paths, the opportunities they've been given. And, it's a great way, like you say, it's a two-way process. Any interview should be a two-way process.
Mm-hmm. So breaking down then the different steps of the process there. So the first interview, the competency interview, how do people tend to let themselves down at this stage of the process?
I think at that stage, candidates are probably sending out 4, 5, 6, 7, 20 different applications, and sometimes the way where people really fall down is that they haven't done their research, as simple as just going onto our website, finding a little bit more about us, and not be able to tell the reasons why they want to come and work for Enterprise. And I think it's really important. Yeah, we are in a retail customer-facing industry, but we want people to dig into our values and make sure that they're aligned with what their own values are. And there's nothing worse than going to an interview and listening to someone say or asking why Enterprise, and I just need a job. So it's about spending, and it does happen. It's about just thinking about that just for 2 or 3 minutes, and just having a bit of an elevator pitch of what the reasons why you've joined us. And then a lot of the times I find when I was doing interviews is you will ask a question on, tell me about a time when you feel that you've exceeded a customer's expectation, and throughout the answer is we did this, I was told, someone told me to do this, and I don't care what everyone else did, it's you sat in front of me, and I want to hear what you did, what your role was, how you resolved a situation, that sort of thing. So people tend to forget that interview is a sales process, and they're selling themselves to us, and that's two of the key things. And then also at the end of the interview, I always think that if you sat there and you haven't got one or two questions to ask me or one of the recruiters, then again, you haven't really delved into that research. So always have one or two questions that you've got, that you're looking to ask, and then that closes off that interview very nicely.
That's a really good point on the research. And with some of the clients that I coach, when they first come to me, they have this scattergun mindset of just wanting to apply to as many different jobs as possible, as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Talk them around into, it's better to focus on just a small number and make sure you've done the research and you're able to do the research. Because if you're applying to 20 different grad schemes, you're not able to know in depth about what their values are, what they're looking for from their candidates, what the company is like. And as you said, when you come to the question about why you want to work there, if you've not put the work in, that's always where I found it was so easy to separate the good candidates from the average candidate was with that question.
Yeah.
Thinking then about the 2 to 3 hour branch visit, again, how can candidates stand out at that stage of the process and to put themselves into the exceptional candidate category? I
think there's two people. I was a branch manager, and I would have one of my employees, what we say is we'd buddy them up with the person, so they'd be looking after them, they would be giving them more detail, talking them through the training and development, and those exceptional people that walk into the branch, you'd think they were one of your own employees from the minute they walk in. They are talking to customers, they're asking lots of questions. They're not just talking to the employee who was their buddy, they are talking to all employees, and just finding out as much as possible about what it's like to, what a day in the life of is at Enterprise. And, and then those that perhaps, some of the traits that I used to see and still see now is when someone comes into the branch, they just sit down in the corner, they don't get involved in what's going on, they don't ask any questions. And it really is just embracing that situation and just thinking of it as, you're just with, chatting to some people that you've met for the first time and just asking questions and just getting involved. I've had people coming on our branch visits that have been answering the phones, that have been, talking to customers while they're waiting for their car to be all sorted out for them. They are helping out on, with anything really. And that's the difference between a candidate that perhaps is, again, just going through the process to somebody who really is engaged in our business and really wants that opportunity.
And of course, the perennial question that's always at the back of every interviewer's mind is, would I want to work with this person? And if you see people who are getting involved and, as you said, speaking to customers, it just puts them across as a candidate that you'd actually want to work with and would want to have as part of your team.
Yeah, exactly. And, I used to, the first person even after my interview, I would go straight to the person who has been looking after them for that couple of hours and just finding out what their impression was. Did they, were they doing everything that is somebody that is really exceptional, and asking those questions, getting involved and, being able to communicate with all different individuals that are in that branch on that given day. So, yeah, it's a really good opportunity for both us and for the candidate as well.
Excellent. And moving on to the stage of the process that candidates often find the most daunting, the assessment centre. So with your assessment centres, are they all held centrally? I mean, where could people expect to have the assessment centre? Yeah,
we're as a business, we're quite we are decentralised. So each region will have its own local head office. So that's usually in one of the major towns or cities that are within that region. So it could be in Leeds, Cardiff, just outside London, just outside Manchester. So anywhere around the UK where we try and hold those assessment centres. And I think, yes, it is quite daunting, but it's also a stage where we have invested a lot of time into a candidate. So as an employer, we don't want to trip people up because there's been a lot of time investment both from the business and from the talent acquisition team to get this person to that stage. So that's one of the things that some candidates really, that's one of my tips, is don't think that the employer's trying to trip you up at that stage. They've invested in you, and they really want to hire you. So don't be, I know it's easy to say, but try not to be nervous at that particular stage. And you've learned a lot about enterprise when you get to that stage, and it's really just using all of the information that you've gathered from your interviews, from your research, from your time in the branch to really help you in that assessment centre. And there's nothing on the day that you wouldn't know, if that makes sense. So everything that we do and discuss and talk about, all the candidates should have an understanding of it, of what to expect. So again, no real surprises. And it's just a great opportunity to network and meet different people within the business. But yeah, it is one of those, the assessment centre, I think, is just, with the name itself, it just creates nerves. But those people that are really successful go in there and adjust themselves and make sure that they enjoy it, they have fun, and just take all of the information that they've learned and gathered over the process so far and put that into practice on that particular day.
One of my previous guests, and forgive me, I can't remember exactly who it was, but had a really nice analogy for the assessment centre not being the stage for you to be ruled out. It's a stage for you to rule yourself in. So you're not in competition with the other people there. It's just about showing what you can do. As you said, they're not looking to trip you up. They're not looking for you to make mistakes. They want to help you to, if you're the right candidate for them.
I know, because, on our team, they've worked hard to get a candidate to that stage in the process, as well as the candidates worked hard themselves. So the name is in our title. We're graduate recruiters. So we want to recruit people into the business, because, that's only going to help us be more successful. And what I will add is that for every stage of our process, we've got blogs, we've got case studies, we've got real life examples, we've got inside information, hints and tips on every stage of our process on our website, which all candidates can look at. We put it out over social media. So, if anybody is in the process, then just go to enterprisealive.co.uk and you can read people's own. We've got one which is the Insider's Guide to the Assessment Centre, which is an anonymous blog, but gives people like some hints and tips on those unwritten rules that sometimes people don't always see or understand.
Excellent. And I'll link to everything we discussed, and there'll be a full transcript in the show notes at graduatejobpodcast.com/enterprise.
Perfect.
And one final question on the assessment centre, actually. Any tips for the role play part of the exercise? Yeah,
I know that is probably the one where people really do get unstuck on. Again, it's nerves, and it's forgetting everything that you've learned. So it is just looking at, we don't expect people to 100% know the ins and outs of our business, or even 10%. It's really just looking at what your philosophy is around customer service and how you would deal with a customer in any given situation. And that's what we're looking at. And if you've spent time, when you walk out of our branches, you will know that our philosophy is we are a customer service driven, environment and culture. And that's really what we're looking for when we're doing one of these role plays. And just even if you ask for feedback yourself at the end of that role play, our employees are more than happy to, maybe give you some feedback and coach you and things like that throughout that process as well.
Excellent. And you talked earlier about the campus brand manager position. Do you tend to, and also the internships that you do you tend to actively look for people who've been through the brand manager and the internship as a key part of the people to apply for the graduate scheme?
Yeah, I mean, if you've done an internship with us and you've performed throughout those 12 months, you don't have to go through the process again. You will be converted straight onto our management trainee program, and a lot of our interns actually earn their first promotion during the first 12 months. So they can join the business and be already promoted. So they're already earning more than what a lot of their peers could potentially be earning, because some of them are going straight in as assistant managers. So yeah, it really is a fast track to management if you have done a placement with us previously. And then a lot of our placement or interns will then go back to university and be a be a campus brand manager and represent us, and you can start earning money for referrals. We actually just had our National Campus Brand Manager of the Year awards on Wednesday. So we had 4 campus brand managers from across the UK competing each other for that title, and you can see all about it on our social media channels. But a young one of our in-placement students, Chelsea Gannon, who was at Liverpool John Moore, won the trophy and won the award. And it's just a great story, and she's going to be coming back as an assistant manager. She started back in the business already. So yeah, it's a great program, and as I say, our CB Campus Brand Manager program is something that is good because and that's also a way, one of my other tips is that find out if there is an enterprise brand manager at your university. They've done our program, they've been through the internship, so it can really give you again that insider's guide to what it's like, what are the good points, what are some of the challenges, and help you in the whole process as well. They really do handhold you and help you through each stage of that process.
That sounds amazing. And the internship placement schemes, when are they? Is that just for people on a sandwich course as part of their degree?
We do the 12-month program, but so a lot of people will do that as their third year in industry. But we also have our summer placement opportunities. We really try and push that to our first years at university. A lot of graduate recruiters don't offer that to first years, and we just think that it's a great opportunity to start bringing people into our business, giving them some brand, getting our brand out there at an early age in their university life. So that's open to first years, second years to do that summer placement with us.
And what does the application process look like for those? Is it broadly similar to the graduate scheme?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. So one of the reasons we do that is to give interns a real insight into what a graduate recruitment process looks like. So, if you're not successful, at least you've gone away with some skills and experience of what the graduate recruitment process would be. So it very much mirrors the graduate recruitment program.
And applications for the graduate scheme, is that year-round, Ashley, or is it just the specific milk rounds opening in September, October time?
No, we're open all year round. We get a lot of people that perhaps they finish university and they want to do 3 or 4 months travelling. So rather than having to wait a year to start a graduate program, then, we have monthly intakes every month for all individuals. And, sometimes we want to encourage people to maybe do take that 2 to 3 months out because you've just come out of a 3-year, 4-year course, and you just perhaps sometimes just need some downtime before you go straight into the world of work. So we're flexible, and we really work closely with all of our hires to make sure that when they do come in and join the business, it's the right time for them. Excellent.
And Ashley, unfortunately, time is running away with us. But one final question before we move on to our weekly staple questions. What would you say to someone to convince them who might be in two minds about whether to apply to Enterprise?
Well, one thing that would really make people stand out is if they're really unsure. We've got 400 locations across the UK. Walk in, speak to our people in one of our local branches, and just ask them, I'm thinking about applying to Enterprise. Tell me a little bit more about the program. What do you enjoy about it? And that makes you stand out as a candidate before you even perhaps make your application. So, don't be afraid to go in and speak to our employees. The one thing that everyone says about Enterprise people is that they're great. They're so friendly. Nobody will turn around to you and say no. So, go in, pick up the phone, speak to a local branch, speak to one of our local recruiters, and just find out yourself as to what people really think about it.
Brilliant. That's great advice. I love that one. So, Ashley, moving on now to our weekly staple questions. So, first question up, what one book would you recommend that our listeners should read?
I've just finished one. I'm reading another, and there's a third that I like. Can I give 3 or not?
Go on then, I'll let you have 3.
Okay, so there's a great one that I've just read called The Damage Done, which was by Warren Fellows. One that I'm reading at the moment is called The Lie by C.L. Taylor. and there's a business book which I'm reading, which is called Persuasion: The Art of Influencing People. So they're my 3 books.
Excellent. And have you learnt a lot then from Persuasion? Are you now Jedi mind control tricks?
I think, well, yes.
I like it. Definitely want to add to the list. Excellent. And next question, what website would you recommend that listeners should visit?
There's a lot of great graduate websites out there that are going to give you a real insight into all graduate companies. I think the Guardian career site is fantastic, and I also think the Rate My Placement website is a great site as well.
Super, and I will link to both of those in the show notes at graduatejobpodcast.com/enterprise. And finally, Ashley, what one tip would you give our listeners that they can implement today to help on their job search?
Okay, many job searchers or many graduates really get hung up on the fact that I want to work in IT, so I can only apply for Microsoft, or I can only apply for IBM, or I want to work in accounts, so I'm going to only be able to work for the Big Four. Always be open-minded. Every big company, every graduate recruiter has opportunities in IT, in HR, in accountancy, in business management, in retail. So never limit who you're looking at and why you're looking at them and who you eventually go and apply to, because it's sometimes not always about the brand, it's about what that employer is like as a business. So never shut any doors, always be open-minded to every company.
That's great advice, listeners, as you go forward looking at graduate jobs. Ashley, thank you so much for your time today. Before we finish, what is the best way for people to get in touch with you and also with Enterprise?
Okay, if you want to get in touch with Enterprise, go to our website, which is enterprisealive.co.uk. Unlike a lot of graduate recruiters, you'll find on there all of our recruiters from across the UK with their email address, telephone number, Twitter handle. So where in the country you're looking to apply, you can get straight in touch with one of our talent acquisition teams. If you want to get in touch with me, please visit me on LinkedIn, Ashley Hever. I'm also on Twitter. I'm a big tweeter. If it's either about work or my other main passion, which is Leicester City, and you will find me at gradu8 recruiter, or follow us at Enterprise Jobs at ERAC_jobs. So yeah, feel free. I will happily answer any questions that anybody has or put them in the right direction of the person who might know more than me. So yeah, I'm there for anyone to get in touch with.
Ashley, thank you so much for appearing on the Graduate Job Podcast.
Perfect. Have a lovely weekend.
Many thanks again to Ashley. I really enjoyed that episode, and I love speaking directly to recruiters to get the inside track, especially when I might be introducing you to companies that you might not have been thinking of applying to. A few things stood out for me from the episode. The first was of the power of internships. Not only will you be gaining brilliant work experience, you'll be learning about the company and seeing if it's a right fit for you. At Enterprise, you also have the brilliant chance to get promoted while still on the internship. Now, whether you stay at the company you do the internship at doesn't matter. The experience will stand you in great stead no matter what you choose to do. My second point is to reiterate Ashley's top tip about being open-minded about the companies that you apply to. Think about the experiences that you gain from a company, the variety of work you'll be doing, the opportunities you will have to grow, travel or learn. All of these will be more valuable in the long run for your career than maybe a higher starting salary initially. Follow Ashley's advice and go and speak to the people working at whichever company you are thinking of applying to. Pop into your nearest Enterprise for a chat and see if it's a good fit for you. Right, there you go. Episode 48 finished. Just one more to go to the big 50. Before I go, 2 final requests from me. If this episode or any of the other 47 have been useful to you, you can thank me in 2 ways. One is to do the survey at graduatejobpodcast.com/survey, and the other is to leave me a review on iTunes. Now, Apple puts lots of weight to iTunes reviews, and it keeps me nice and high in the charts, so please fire up iTunes and leave me a review. I'll love you forever. To that end, many thanks to Kevin25 here in the UK for his 5-star review, which said, "I recently stumbled across this podcast and it instantly struck a chord with me. As a recent graduate, I'm debating many things in life, And this is definitely a great tool to add to your box, enabling you to do more going forward as a recent graduate. Keep them coming. Many thanks, Kevin. You made my day. Thanks for taking the time to leave a review. And listeners, please follow Kevin's lead and head over to iTunes where you can do the same. Links for how you can and all the show notes from everything today can be found at graduatejobpodcast.com/enterprise. All that's left to say is do join me next week when we go niche again and I speak to Dave Spencer, co-founder and program director of new graduate scheme Police Now. I hope you enjoyed the episode today, but more importantly, I hope you use it and apply it. See you next week.